Good morning all, back once again, Thursday morning, 10:20. I am going to branch out and do some non-sport videos at some point. Obviously recently there's been a lot of rugby, there's been some boxing videos, UFC videos, football videos. Well, obviously as some bigger things start happening, obviously there's been a lot of I might do a transfer update. There's a few football debates coming up. Streets Will Never Forget video will be done at some point. Yeah, a lot of sport, and we're delving into sport once more, into the world of MMA, British MMA. Big news: the UFC official undisputed heavyweight champion Tommy Aspinall finally has another fight. Obviously he hasn't fought since he defeated Curtis Blades. Ooh, I can't even remember when that was. I want to say it was early last year. May even be... Yeah, I want to say it was early mid last year. But he now has a fight against... Drum roll, please. Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane. French heavyweight. To be fair, it's not really a surprise because who else is there? Tom has pretty much cleaned out the division. He's beaten, if you look at sort of the top 10, he's beaten Curtis Blades, he's beaten Volkov, he's beaten Spivak, he's beaten Pavlovich. You know, they're sort of the top guys. I mean, Volkov is coming around the track again for a second fight probably, which I don't think Tom will have any problems, will have any resistance to that. And he's not fought Ciryl Gane. Yes, he went looking for Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane has turned him down a few times. I can remember when Gane fought, I believe it was Spivak, at UFC Paris last year or the year before. Tom went there to call him out. Very respectful, as he always is, was cage side, and the presenter person in, you know, whoever was had the microphone in the cage interviewing Gane, sort of prompted him, didn't make it as obvious as to say, oh, you're going to call Tom in, but sort of prompted everything he could to set up Ciryl going, come on Tom Aspinall, let's get in here, which would have been fantastic because, you know, French fans are very, very vocal at the UFC Paris events. Le Marseillaise is always boomed out and it's fantastic. You got France versus England, that rivalry, whichever sport, you know, you don't see many French boxers at the highest level, but when France play England, whether that be football or rugby, it's the two most common. Obviously England play France at least once a year in rugby in the Six Nations, and you've obviously got the potential of World Cups, etc. It's always a big occasion. You know, they are our neighbours, are just across the channel, so it would be fantastic. And Ciryl Gane was not interested in it at one bit. Then as soon as Tom gets the interim title, he sort of shows a little bit more interest. But then as soon as Tom is confirmed as the undisputed, oh, he wants the fight now. Funny old thing. But I don't think Tom's gonna well, he obviously hasn't refused it because it's booked October, UFC 321. But Tom has said in the past, you know, well, why should I give him a chance? You know, he's almost alluded to like, oh, well, I could be a bastard here, I could be a knobhead and say no to him because he said no to me so many times. Now I'm in the position of power. This is me paraphrasing of Tom Aspinall. But he obviously hasn't, because he wants to fight, and there are very few fresh matchups for him. John Jones has gone running. Stipe is finally, thankfully, retired. You've got Rosenstrike, who, let's be honest, who's clambering to see that fight, and does he deserve a shot? Absolutely not. Ngannou is under contract at the PFL. You've got Gelton Almeida. Has he pulled up many trees? But then again, let's look at Ciryl Gane. His last... Who has he beaten? In his last 5 fights, I believe he's 3-2. So he lost against... So also, we have to mention this. This is his third opportunity at the belt. Third opportunity at the belt. Bearing in mind, Tom Aspinall was the undisputed for what, 12 months more? And he's only now got the belt because the champion retired in Jon Jones. So Ciryl faced Francis Ngannou, lost. Then I believe, I might have my timeline wrong here, but his last 3 wins have been Volkov, Spivak, Tuivasa. I believe it might have even been Ngannou loss, beat Tuivasa, Jon Jones loss, beat Spivak, beat Volkov. Now, also, I wonder how Alexander Volkov feels, because that last fight, Gane against Volkov, very, very close. A lot of people thought, myself included, that Alexander Volkov got the victory. Dana White, you can see it. You search for it online, YouTube, whatever, Twitter, X. You will see it, him saying, we'll look after you for this, because it was an unjust decision. Widely seen as an unjust decision. I mean, don't get me wrong, Volkov wasn't a dominant figure in that fight, but he edged it. He edged it, and it was fairly clear. But the fact that Ciryl Gane has got 3 title opportunities, when, let's be clear, I don't think he really deserves them. You know, he did bits before he fought Ngannou, but he wasn't going... To be fair, the Ngannou one he did deserve, because he won the interim strap, and he was impressive. But he was horrendous against Jon Jones. He barely... Well, he's got a botched decision against Volkov. Yes, he finished Tuivasa. Yes, he finished Spivak. Both at home, both in Paris. But he hasn't stepped up to fight Pavlovich, Curtis Blades, Almeida, you know, anyone like that. And if you're going to get out... If you can get out wrestled by Francis Ngannou, Lord knows what big Tommy Aspinall is going to do to you. So, on one hand, it doesn't seem fair that Gane's got this opportunity when he's basically just sat on his ass and fought as little as possible. However, it's a fresh opponent for Tom, and someone that Tom has wanted to fight for some time. So, all's well, all is good. There's a lot of gremlins, maggots on Twitter, on X, sorry, who, if the fight should go 5 seconds longer than the Gane Jon Jones fight, and Jon Jones will do this, who will jump on Twitter straight away and go, oh, Jon Jones finished him quicker than that. That's going to happen. In all likelihood, Aspinall is not going to finish Gane as quickly as Jon Jones did. Is that because Jon Jones is a better heavyweight? No. Is it because Jon Jones is a better fighter than Tom Aspinall? No. Is it because Ciryl Gane was paid to take a dive and welcome back the GOAT? Yeah, probably. Let's be real. Someone somewhere handed Ciryl Gane some cash in a brown envelope, or put some money into an offshore account, for him to put up as little resistance as possible against Jon Jones. The other side to that coin is, did he get overawed by the occasion? Did he get overwhelmed by the sight of Jon Jones coming back after 4 years, all this nonsense, 3 years, whatever it was? He certainly didn't get intimidated by the shape of Jon Jones, because he wasn't in particularly good shape at all, I didn't think. Speaking from someone who's not an athlete, from someone who's definitely not in good shape. But you look at Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall was in subpar condition physically when he fought Sergey Pavlovich. No doubt, he said it himself, compared to what he was when he fought Blades and what he will be when he fights Gane. But Tom Aspinall, in admitted last minute, by all, you know, let's not forget that it was a last minute call up, short notice fight condition, was still in better nick than Jon Jones, who'd been preparing for 3 fucking years. Anyway, how do I see this fight going? Obviously, we're some months away. I believe, did I see earlier it was the 21st of October? So that's what, 3 months away now. Christ, this year is going fast. How do I see it going? I cannot see anything other than a Tom Aspinall win. I haven't seen yet where it's being, where the event's taking place. I know Aspinall would love it to be in the UK. He's fought a lot in the UK, to be fair. I know that Gane would obviously love it to be in France, but it's never going to happen. Never going to happen. So I imagine it's in the T-Mobile or Las Vegas or what's it called? Manson's MSG, possibly that. More than likely the T-Mobile Arena. I just think that Tom Aspinall, I think he's too good for Gane. In every aspect, he's as big as, if not bigger than Ciryl Gane. He's quick as Gane, because Gane's main attribute is that kickboxer style, his footwork, how fluid he looks, how effortless he makes things look. He's very smooth. Tom Aspinall, maybe not as good on the eye, or maybe not as fluid, smooth, and sort of beautiful, his style to watch, but he's just as good, just as fucking quick, just as smooth. I love my analogies from different sports. To me, this is the classic rugby number 10, Dan Carter, Johnny Wilkinson. As good as each other, but Dan Carter was better to watch on the eye for the majority of his career, because obviously Wilkinson was shoehorned into a function, whereas Carter was let to express himself. You watch early Johnny Wilkinson for England, but more specifically for Newcastle Falcons. Wow, that boy loved to run the ball. Anyway, on the ground, power, sorry, Tom Aspinall has the advantage in power. I don't think there's any doubt in that. Gane has a good finishing instincts, like he finished Spivak, he finished Tuivasa, but I think just Tom Aspinall has that shut the lights out very, very quickly power, as we saw most notably against Sergey Pavlovich. You know, to turn the lights off one of the scariest dudes we've seen in the octagon for fucking years quickly. You know, the way he put down Martin Tybura, sat him down on his arse hard. So I think Tom's got the advantage with power. He's going to be more confident. You know, he hasn't lost in the UFC. He's now got the belt, the undisputed belt. Yeah, Gane is on a 2-fight win streak. I think Tom's on, was it 9 or 10? I'm just trying to rattle through his opponents. 2, 3. Then you add Spivak was the 4th, I think. Volkov was the 5th. I think we had Blades. Oh no, he's not on that 9th because obviously his leg blew against Blades. But since then, come back, Tybura, Pavlovich. Yeah, he's on 3 fights as well. Not as hyped as I wanted, but he's got the confidence. On the ground, I don't think it's even a question. We haven't seen an awful lot of Tom Aspinall's wrestling, his jiu-jitsu, his ground game, his submission game in the UFC. But the 2 occasions that he has taken it to the ground and looked for submissions, he's got them in devastating effect. We go back to Orlovsky. It was a stand-up fight in the first round. Second round, there's a bit of stand-up. Tom immediately shoots for the takedown up against the cage, maneuvers around the back, and he gets the choke or the strangle quite, I don't want to say quite easily, because that sounds like I'm slagging off Orlovsky, not at all, but when you've got someone of that caliber, that skill, that strength, and that intelligence, there's nothing to do, particularly when they're in a cracking position, and you're in a very bad position. Then we all remember Volkov at the O2 in the early, I was about to say in the first round, but this was a first round finish. Early in the round, he gets Volkov down, he's controlling him, making it look not easy, but he's in control. There's no doubt about that. He's smashing him with elbows. He opens up a cut on Volkov's head. He's going some big strikes. Like I said, the elbows. Then they get up. Volkov does very well to get back on his feet. Volkov is improved. Since that fight, Volkov's improved no end, in my opinion. It's good to see someone, particularly of his age and experience, you know, he's got like a second wind in his career. And then later on in the fight, Tom does his little dancing and ducking and diving, slips the punch, and bang, beautiful takedown, maneuvers round, listening to his corner, gets the arm lock. Not quite the 4-figure arm lock or the Kimura or whatever you want to call it, but straight arm lock, arm bar, but it's an arm lock, and applies that pressure, and bang, it's over, it's done. So what we have seen of Tom on the ground has been devastating. What have we seen of Ciryl Gane on the ground? Not an awful lot, really, from what I can remember. Obviously, I know Francis Ngannou took him down later on in their fight. So as much as I slag off Gane in the fight against John Jones, he did go 5 rounds with Francis. Yes, that was Francis with heavily strapped knees, and Francis who got very tired, but Gane survived against Francis Ngannou for 5 rounds. Champion Ngannou as well. The Ngannou who hadn't long before that completely switched off the lights of Stipe. But he got taken down fairly easily by Gane. I remember one takedown was heavy. Then Gane tries to counter with leg locks, and it all got a bit ugly, a bit messy. So I don't think there's any shadow of doubt that Tom Aspinall has the advantage in that department. Mentality, Tom's got the advantage clear as day, in my opinion. I do think that Ciryl Gane, it's interesting on TalkSport, you hear people, Tony Bellew and the like, been describing Daniel Dubois as a flat track bully, which I think is a fair assessment. I.e. someone who is very, very good when they're ahead, someone who's very, very good when things are going well, when they're landing, when they're having success. Then as soon as they meet stern resistance, different story. I think you could describe Mike Tyson as the same. You know, when he had the aura and he was connecting, he was, before my time, terrifying. Yet as soon as he faced somebody who stood up to him, who made it a fight and not an execution, someone who offered that resistance, who said, no, I'm not being bullied by you, I'm going to stand up to you, i.e. Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis later on, but I think Mike was shot by then. You know, that was 2003, and he was champ in what, mid to late 80s. So his race was run by that point. But Evander is the classic example. I do think Gane is a bit like that. I think, let's just say he has a good start and he lands, I don't know, he's chipping away at Tom's legs, he lands a few good punches, and then Tom takes a step back and comes hard at him, starts smashing him. Then I think you'll see Gane start to wilt, start to falter. I do think when he's one of these fighters, when he's in a rhythm and he's in that sort of, I don't want to use these words, because to me it's a bit like when people, another tangent here, when people say footballers, oh, he's world class, or ex players are, oh, he's a legend, and you see it on Sky Sports, and it's like, I don't want to pick at Jamie Redknapp because he was a very, very, very good footballer from what I've seen and heard back in the day, but it comes up, oh, Liverpool legend. Or the other day I was on some sort of podcast, listening to some sort of podcast, they're like, oh, we've got a such and such legend, and I'm like, who? Like, you played like 25 times for Man United. You're just an ex-player. So when people say legend in football, more often than not these days, it just means ex-player. When someone's very, 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 very good, they describe them as world class. To me, world class is you are the best in the world in your position. So there should only be 2 world class centre backs, 1 world class right back, in the world, one world class left back, one world class goalkeeper. Do you know what I mean? Or a couple, but they're at the same level. So when I'm on about Ciryl Gane, when I want to use the word flow state, or the phrase flow state, but to me that is someone who is at the pinnacle. They're having their everything's working. Joe Calzaghe, November 2006, at the MEN Arena in Manchester against Jeff Lacey. That is, for any boxing fans, to me, that they're probably better examples, but from what I've seen live and watched it again since, that is a flow state performance. Want to take it back to a rugby analogy again. Dan Carter, 2005, second test against the Lions, 33 points scored, flow state, 2 tries, nailed every kick, assists, looked imperious. So I don't think Ciryl Gane's we've ever seen that from him. But what I mean is, when you disrupt his rhythm, but when he's in that sort of flow state, when everything's coming off, he's moving, he's jinking and jiving, he's setting traps, he's nailing that jab, he's nailing that hand, every leg kick is hitting the fucking meat of the leg, nothing's getting checked. He's making the opponent swing and miss. Like he was against Tuivasa at times in that fight, because he also got caught and fucking hit the deck hard. Ciryl Gane's very good, but I can just see him. I don't think he will get in that rhythm against Tom, because Tom's too good to let him get in that rhythm. But if he did, all it would take is Tom to belt him, or a heavy kick, or to see his feints, his speed, his size, his power. The next thing you know, Gane he's out of sync. He's on the back foot, and he's never going to win the fight. We shall see. Hopefully, for Gane, he's worked on his wrestling. I remember Khabib and Islam offering to let him train with them in Dagestan after he fought. I believe it was after he fought John Jones, because that was embarrassing. But we shall see. We shall see. I think Tom. Wouldn't surprise me if it went to the second round, because Ciryl Gane does have the capabilities to be very, very, very dangerous, but I can't see it. I think Tom's got too many tools in his toolbox for Gane. He's got too much. That there's so many options. Whereas if Gane's going to win, it's win a kickboxing fight, make it a kickboxing match against Tommy Aspinall, and out kickbox him. I think that's Gane's only path to victory. Whereas Tommy Aspinall is capable of winning that kickboxing fight, is capable of knocking him out with one punch, is capable of wrestling him to death, is capable of getting the submission, is capable of winning on points. I say that, there's very little data to suggest so, because we've never seen him go the distance in the UFC. But he has got more paths to victory, whereas Ciryl Gane has one. But there we go, we shall see. Months away yet. Tommy Aspinall is an acclaimed YouTuber now, so I'm sure we'll see a video later on, or if it's not up already, about him addressing this matchup. But we shall see. Anyway, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again.